What do guys do after breakup? Story 1. Take an actual care of myself. I'm not even joking. After, especially the tough one, breakup, the best thing you can do is to calm down. Do things you like. Jump into new fandom. Start new hobby. Watch something you've always wanted to watch. And for God's sake, do not rush into moving on. Just trust me. I did it and ended up even worse than before. Breakups can be difficult and terrible at the beginning. You want to call or text them. You stalk their social media. Some of us even rush into new relationships just to feel like they've moved on even though they definitely haven't. Very important thing is giving yourself space to work through your emotions, your feelings, allow yourself to suffer, and give yourself time to mourn. You will be hurt, that's true, but trust me, nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary, emotions and feelings including. You'll be fine, babe, trust me. Just please let yourself feel. Answer, wow, thank you. Some days I just spiral out of control mentally. She is just on constant repeat every 30 seconds in my head, and I just can't stop it. Your words help. I keep reminding myself of a few things. Everything changes and everything ends. She's a part of my history, not my destiny. Words help a lot of the time, but you just start to spiral and you have to really work hard to bring yourself back to reality. Story 2. First, I delete every social media, messages, pics to avoid stimuli reminder. People-associated dopamine releases hell of a substances. Then, I express for myself what I won't miss about the relationship. What needs of mine weren't fulfilled? What was a source of pain during the relationship? Don't idealize the other person because has she left you? Then, and that is crucial to grieve healthily, I sit with my emotions and try to not numb them in distractions 100 of the time. I let them pass through my entire body with zero resistance. This part is incredibly painful. Maybe the hardest thing I've ever experienced in life. That is the part where you crumble, burst into tears, collapse at work or anywhere, anytime during the day. That's just brutal but necessary. Bottling up the feelings would wound you even deeper. I allow myself to cry, to miss her, to be angry, to be disappointed. In the meantime, as I lost the we part, I focus on the me part. I connect with friends. I wonder what I like to really do. Rediscover hobbies that I left on the side. Try new things, travel. When I think about her, what she is doing, who she is seeing, I redirect my attention on me. How am I doing? Because be honest, after a breakup, all you can do is speculate, and that's not a good thing to do. You won't have answers anymore, so let it go. Slowly with setbacks, I collapse, then rebuild myself. Good luck, fellas. Answer? Dude, the fudge we and me thing speaks to me so much, but in a different way. For 13 years, it was we are moving, we did this. This happened to us. Now it's just me. I keep finding myself saying, yeah, we'll be there, or we did this. And I keep having to correct myself and say, I will be there, or I did this. And it just feels so singular. Story 3. Write down all the annoying or crappy things that they did. Anything bad, basically, no matter how small. In days, weeks to come, you'll only remember the good things. And having a list to remind you of why it wasn't a perfect match will help you keep at least a little bit of perspective when you are reminiscing. That, and to give it a bit of time, and then get out there again, are all the advice I can give. Answer. Sometimes you don't even have to do that. It turns out there wasn't a whole lot of good in my relationship. She was emotionally abusive, and once I was out, it was like my mind allowed me to finally see the fudge up, self-centeredness that was at the core of who she was and how awfully she treated me on the day-to-day. I'd also recommend therapy. It helps a lot. Story 4. These days, the worst thing about breaking up is knowing that I'll have 6 months or so of feeling miserable before things get to normal. I know the pain and everything will pass, and it just feels like such a waste of time feeling it in the first place. That and the dreams, but you can't do anything about those. That's what I put my emotional turmoil into. Not her, not what I've lost, not what she might be doing now. I draw a bit thick, impenetrable line under all that, and just fixate on the healing process. Clean break and move onwards. You have to be ruthless with yourself in that respect. I keep my mind busy doing productive and rewarding things, writing usually, and when the pain, anger, resentment comes on, take it out on the exercise bike. The whole process of breaking up and healing is like a mental discipline. The only way it becomes worth it is to come out the other side stronger or better in some way, and you will. Story 5. Cry a lot, doom scroll, think about her, endlessly check her social media in case she's changed it to open instead of lockdown, Try and look at her new boyfriend on InstaFB, but his account is also locked down. Pace around the house, have anxiety attacks, develop unhealthy coping mechanisms, become incredibly lonely and isolated, crave human interaction but also be terrified of it, start making plans and then canceling them, choose to stay at home instead of joining at people going out, smoke so much plant substance you stop feeling anything, no matter how much you smoke. Try and move on and maintain no contact, but you still feel as though you can't go a day without talking to her because it will finally be the first day in 14 years you haven't spoken to her at some point. So you send little messages like, "The kids had a good day today," or "Look at what eldest did, lol." Pace around the house some more. Look at all the things that will be gone when she moves out of her friend's spare room and into her own place. Try putting away some of her things, but keep getting distracted. Delete after you've meticulously backed up every single photo of you both together, or just her, unless it includes at least 60 child, or the focus isn't on her, she just happens to be in it, from the past 14 years, so they stop appearing in your memories. Try and download dating apps only to find that you're not going to immediately find the next love of your life, and that you keep comparing every single person you swipe onto her. Delete them, download them again, delete them again. Do this about twice a week, and then most of all, keep on top of all of the housework, so everyone thinks you're doing just fine and you're not secretly wishing that someone decides to drive into you on the highway because you can't help but feel completely replaced because she moved on within 6 months, and the kids love him, and they had pizza night for their first night with mom, and that stupid Instagram story is what completely broke you. Anyone else, or is that just me, lol? Answer, ouch, I'm so sorry. That sucks. I can't make it any better, but I can tell you that I came out of an 18-year marriage and was a mess for years, then a little bit less of a mess, then a little bit less still. If you have children with the ex, like me, that means they will be in your life until at last the youngest turns 18, probably longer. One day I met someone, and I've been with this person for 12 years now, and I couldn't be happier. I promise you, one day they will just be the other parent of your children and nothing more. Story 6. I got out of an 11.5-year relationship last year. I tried to get back in touch with the remnants of who I used to be beforehand, while also identifying who I wanted to become. I rediscovered the joys of reading, hiking, and playing music again. I joined a softball team and started volunteering again. Got some tattoos, bought a new car, went to Africa and Europe for a bit, some full-on midlife crisis shoot. Plus, I drank heavily for a while. But 3 months after my divorce was finalized, I met and went on a date with an incredible woman. We celebrated the 1-year anniversary of that first date earlier this month. As an added bonus, it's been over 9 months since I've had a drink. I went overboard. I'm going at least a year sober to compensate. Story 7. It's hard as a guy to get over a breakup, at least in my opinion. I had what I thought was a good relationship with the woman of my dreams for 7 years, till it finally dawned on me that she only cared about herself and money, and I was too blind to all the red flags because I really wanted the relationship. You have to keep yourself literally occupied at all times just to attempt to not think about the person. Story 8. 1. Tell them you can't talk for a while. Quickly jot down a list of all the things you won't miss about them. The dumb, annoying stuff like hair in the sink. 2. Accept the raw force that a page is turning in your life and you are entering a transition period. 3. Spend a couple days letting yourself feel numb and sad. Put on non-romantic, distracting movies like LOTR. Put all their stuff in a box and put it out of sight. Sleep a lot. 4. Your ego needs some love. Remember, everyone gets dumped. Most relationships end. You will be dumped and dump again. You were good enough to date, you will be even better after what you learned in this relationship. 5. Keep adding to and checking that list when you need it. 6. When energy returns, clean your house and make it exactly how you want it. Undo any compromises made for X. 7. Say yes to every invite. Dress a little different. Get a new hobby. Find a new band. Update yourself for a new chapter a bit. 8. Envision a life where you are over your ex and busy and excited about new stuff and new people. Point your decisions toward that North Star. 9. Accept that your old relationship had good and bad parts and take the best lessons and memories with you as you move forward. Wish your ex well as much as you can. Story 9. I can speak from a friend's experience on this one. She left him about 4 months ago. His fault. This is the most depressed he had ever been. This breakup hurt him more than losing a close family member. He cried more in 1 week than I'd ever seen anyone cry in my entire life up until that point. He doesn't cry as much anymore, but he said it still feels like he had been stripped of all the happiness and will to live that he once had. He said, "Let me put it this way. I'm alive, but I'm not living. I'm completely dead inside." Story 10. Guys typically alternate between binge-watching action movies and listening to sad songs like they're starring in their own dramatic movie montage. Then they analyze the relationship like they're writing a thesis on what went wrong. And of course, there's the mandatory ice cream tub therapy. Answer: I didn't expect to get called out like that. D. Although I am quite proud of my last research paper titled, "It's Never Just One Person," a holistic review of fudge-ups on both sides, featuring days of soul-crushing realizations of my own idiotic takes, insecurities, and toxic behavior. It's been over 3 years and I continue to find new things. Story 11. It really depends on who broke up. In my case, the mother of my 2 kids broke up in less than 24 hours because she had an affair with her boss. Classic one. I had to recover for a while. Friends, quality moments with the kids, stuff like that. Once I got better, sort of 6-7 months, I started dating apps and it worked quite well for a year of fun. Then, unsuspectedly, I had a date with a very interesting woman and almost 2 years later, we're still together. So I guess it's a pretty classical journey, starting with just recovering and getting better. Story 12. We think about the girl that left. We think about what we might have done differently to keep her. I can't go a day without thinking about her. Every time I see a KIA automobile, I think about her. She has a special license plate. Every time I see one like it, I think about her. I have to drive through the town she lives in every Friday for work. I can see the hill she lives on from miles away. I have to drive right by the hill she lives on. I think about the good times I had. I want her back. I was crazy about her, but she just kept me around until she was too busy with everything else. Story 13. It took me 5 years to get over one in particular. Felt wretched for a good 18 months, then just bloody awful for another 3 years. Tried seeing someone else, but it wasn't fair on her. She liked me quite a lot, but I just wasn't in the relationship at all. I did the gym thing till I moved away. I looked good, but didn't feel it at all. Story 14. The day after it happened, I crashed my motorcycle. Had to spend 3 weeks at home alone. Worst time of my life. To be forced to process everything alone without being able to go out and forget. The physical pain was nothing compared to the emotional. It's been over a month now. Still not over her, but day by day it gets better. I've dabbled into every kind of therapy, retail, talking, working out, etc. Trying to fast-track everything. Harsh truth is it just takes time. Story 15. Last time I had a breakup, I did this. Hit the gym more often, took some nice pictures of myself, and downloaded Tinder to put them there. It worked perfectly. Oh, and I started to spend more time with myself, visiting sauna and barbershop more often. Cooked some nice food for myself, downloaded some good computer games, and spent several evenings working in the gym, cooking, eating, and playing games. Literally one of the best times of my life. Now I have a new girlfriend, and we do these things mostly together. Story 16. Depends on the circumstance around the breakup, but my ex was a bit puritanical, so I did a bunch of things she wouldn't have approved of. I took up smoking for a couple of months, booked a few weekends away to myself, bought a replica pro wrestling championship, just generally treated myself and overindulged a little bit. I didn't realize what a stick in the mud she was and how small my life had become until we split, so it was a few months of catching up on life. Story 17. I suffer alone because the one emotional outlet that we had is simultaneously gone, and the cause of the emotions. Most men don't have deep and meaningful conversations with their friends and instead burden their partners with their emotions. This is why tragic end is so much higher in men than women. Time heals all wounds, though. Some take longer than others. Doing things you actually enjoy is a big help. Even better if those things were something that you couldn't do or weren't permitted to do while you were with your partner. Take time to reflect and actually write down the things you didn't like about your partner or your relationship or about yourself when you were with that person. Take note of the things that were really important to you that your partner didn't want or couldn't satisfy. There is a particularly beautiful clarity that one gets after a difficult relationship has ended. Save those notes somewhere, and when you find yourself connecting romantically with another person, read it and make efforts towards not repeating your old mistakes. Thank you for posting this question, OP. Writing this comment was very cathartic. I hope you're doing okay. Story 18. First I did was buy a gaming PC and a monitor. My ex-wife complained when I wanted to play games. If it was at daytime, she said I don't want to spend time with her. If it was at nighttime, she said I talk to other women online. Psycho. In 6 years of marriage, I had maybe 100 hours of gameplay. Story 19. Funny how this came out as I am going through my post-breakup phase. It's been 4 months, a lot of ups and downs. When you're up, you feel really good, but as the night hits, you feel this emptiness that can be filled. You just learn to deal with it and sleep it off, hoping tomorrow morning will be better. A lot of times I still think about her, I'll always make up scenarios of meeting her again in my head, knowing that there's no chance of it happening. One thing I've learned during this whole ordeal is for someone like me, the overthinking, the scenario creating will never stop. It'll only get worse if you keep resisting. During the first few weeks, it's gonna suck it real bad. Cry it out till you can't cry anymore and get back up again. Let the thoughts flow, but never let it control you. Never let it stop you. I started my running phase, got new running gear, and have never been more motivated than ever. Also got a new hairstyle, growing out a mullet. Hitting the gym too, and just recently got a part-time job to eliminate some time before school starts again. This whole experience is just a big reminder to me to be humble during my happiest times, because when the low comes, it's really low. Then when the low hits, I tell myself that it won't last because I've been happy too. Story 20. Feel bad about it for a few months. Try to distract myself with friends and going out, sleep in the middle of the bed, arrange things at home how I want it, assuming I'm not leaving, and try to rebound as quick as possible. Also, a lot of self-reflecting. Story 21. Sigh a big breath of relief, because I know that if it isn't meant to be, then no reason to dwell on once was. Time to start exploring new hobbies, focusing on yourself and learning. Seriously. The road to the rest of your life is ahead of you, so turning your head around to look behind you is only a waste of time and going to derail your straight-ahead life driving. You've got this. Is it hard? Oh, fuck yes. But it'll make your life wonderfully better to realize that life comes with these ups and downs, and it's time for a new chapter. Story 22. When she broke up with him, as I often observed, engaged in finding another girlfriend, ASAP to show his ex she is easily replaceable. Even marry the new one just to show the old one he loves her even more. Often no happy end of this relationship either. Story 23. As someone who's now 6 weeks out, apparently it's been angry, then just really sad, then talk about it a lot, then still be sad anyway. And taking time, I'm not dating at the moment, as I just be a shoot partner, and I don't want to use anyone for physical contact or lead anyone on, as it's not fair. I'm trying to take on what's been said with a grain of salt. Things weren't entirely my fault, and do some self-improvement. I know I need to listen more to the other person's core issue, not just think about if it's fair on me or not, as they do feel a certain way. I also know I need to speak out a bit more, as some of my issues are from keeping quiet because I didn't want to cause an issue, get any kickback, was told crying was unattractive, and I'm not manly, which lead to a buildup of feelings and lack of me listening myself. I'm giving myself time and keeping occupied. I don't have to stay up as late as possible to make sure I don't think or cry in bed anymore, which is good. I can talk without getting upset now, which is good. I need to be okay with myself again before I put myself out there, as I want to be the best for someone else and also be wanted for me, not just a persona, etc. Story 24. It depends on what kind of relationship you had with that person and on what terms you guys ended it. If it's hurting you, then focus on healing and give it some time. And if the breakup isn't hurting you, then also give it some time and focus on yourself, explore yourself. Time may look tough, but it will definitely get better. Story 25. I had a major glow up and started heavy lifting. This gave me a great confidence boost. It's been 6 months since the breakup. I went straight into no contact, and last week I blocked my ex on WhatsApp and social media. I accepted the end of the relationship, and I'm moving on. I'm thankful to him because by breaking up with me, he pushed me to work on myself and improve my life. But I don't want him to have access to my life anymore. Story 26. Try not to stalk his account, bury myself with work, sleep poorly, wake up with heart palpitations because I dreamed of him again, eat sometimes because suddenly everything sucks, read sad quotes, or quotes that justifies the breakup, or whatever except for finding love again. Work out until I can no longer breathe, then cry because I'm tired, rinse and repeat. Story 27. Have severe PTSD, get agoraphobic, change job, move house to the blandest town in England as part of mental recovery study Japanese, go to Japan to practice it, fall in love with Japan, obtain visa, wait 2 years during COVID to move to Japan, end up living in an obscure village on an obscure island, and learning to dance the traditional dances of fishing and kimono making. Find happiness in a friendly community by the sea. I assume this is what everyone goes through. Story 28. Apart from the emotional cares laid about by many others, I spend roughly a year's time building a kind of friendship with my ex. I start by kindly requesting to meet my ex-GF when they are ready with the stated goal of discussing what happened in the relationship and breakup, and if we could build some sort of a relationship that would allow us to stay in contact on our own terms. Slowly through a series of discussions, I like to break apart the emotional baggage left from the relationship and create space for mutual appreciation. This is difficult work and takes me roughly a year, and not everyone consents to this. But this has allowed me to live free of negative feelings about many of my past relationships and for me to grow hugely as a person. In addition, I vastly cherish the kind of friendships I have forged with my former lovers. They've enriched my life greatly. I wish everyone could have what I have been lucky to create. Story 29. I've been suffering for almost 2 years. She's constantly on my mind. I think it's a trauma bond. She never loved me. I never stopped loving her. Men will suffer in pain, alone, crying and breaking down in silent, dark places, smiling when out, dying inside. Story 30. I had a relationship for almost 12 years. I decided to book a one-way trip to a city in another country I wanted to visit on my own. After staying there, I was having some fun, but I also felt horribly lonely. I realized I wanted to be single for some time and do the things I always wanted to do on my own, meeting many girls and traveling a lot. I ended up moving to that country in the end, Poland, met my future wife and have 2 kids with her. Never been happier. I would recommend changing your environment and doing fun things on your own. Edit. I must add that I was already in shape, healthy, and financially independent before that. If you're not, start with that. Self-improvement is key here, as many comments here suggest. Story 31. Out of sight, out of mind. She gets blocked on social media, so I don't have to see her. I drive different routes if I think there's a possibility she's driving that way. I avoid places we mutually go to. Think of that what you will, but it's been surprisingly effective for me. People tend to think that this is unhealthy, but so far, breakups in my life have happened in relationships that were doomed and unreconcilable. I know what I want long-term. I know the red flags, and so far breakups have only been with people that I know it wouldn't work out with, whether she dumps me or not. It's always confused me why people try to remain friends after a breakup. It's like repeatedly ripping off a scab. Story 32. First, they decide never again to beat the meat. Then they think and force themselves to beat the meat. What if we don't and something goes wrong? Like, what if it is never meatier again? Then they think and decide it's time to beat the meat. Then the meat thinks, and then the meat is beaten. Story 33. I'm dealing with a breakup. TBH, I just space out. It's a mix of I'd like to fudge and I won't be able to. It's wanting to find someone again and knowing that you can't because I will be thinking of someone else. It suck, but it does get better with time. But Jim, story 34. Instead of doing the healing work, they get on dating apps. Date the first person they meet. Easy option. Idolize this person and love bomb them, making them believe that they actually love them. They start planning future vacations after 2 dates and introduce them to their family friends by week 3. Meanwhile, they're still stalking their ex on LinkedIn. Then, just when things seem too good to be true, they realize they've moved on too quickly and suddenly need space to figure things out. They ghost the new person for a week, only to come back and say they're not ready for a relationship. They claim they need time to work on themselves, which in reality means binge-watching TV shows and eating junk food, or going to the gym excessively because gym fixes everything. After all this, they slide back into their ex's DMs with a casual, "Hey, hope you're doing well," as if the whole dating fiasco never happened. Classic. But I'm just a girl, so I don't know what guys feel after a breakup. But I know that they will do everything except go to therapy or work on themselves. Edit, I seem to have offended a big lot. No offense was intended to men out there, just calling it as I see it. This comment is not a stereotype, but it's true in some cases. I've got some awesome men in my life that I look up to, including my ex. But this is my experience, so keep it respectful. Story 35. I'm still having trouble finding myself and couldn't get into any serious relationship after 4 years of breaking up with my ex. It wasn't because he did something detrimental to me. He was a wonderful boyfriend. But I guess I just had too many regrets, and regardless of how many times I told myself that I already overcame them, I was still being haunted by the ghost of that relationship. I seriously don't know how I could completely move on, find someone, and actually be happy. I'm so desperate right now, LOL. Story 36. For me, it was a numbness for 3 days followed up with a random and intense 2-minute burst of anger and sadness in the privacy of my own home. Took all the gifts and threw them out, as I figured it'd be a better way to cope than smashing all my furniture and eating a cake. I'm better than that. So, story 37. Use this as ammunition for your fire to better yourself and step up your game. Hit the gym harder. Start therapy so you don't make the same mistakes twice. Work harder, get a better paying job, eat better sleep, pay off debt, become financially independent. Find someone more compatible to you. Story 38. I've only had one breakup, but I got a new job, worked a lot, fudge a lot, did a lot of coke, ate and drank at nice places by myself, and realized I really enjoyed my own company. It was hard in the first month, but after that, honestly, I was fine. Then about 5 months later, I was perfect. I guess the best thing to do is focus on you and what makes you happy. After that, def see other people coos. Even if they may not make you as happy, it makes you realize that you're still likable and worth liking. Self-worth is important. You could probably miss out the coke part of this all, but hey, I work in hospitality and I was doing 60 HR weeks, and how am I going to have the energy to fudge after work without some assistance? LeMayo. Story 39. Depends on your age. When I was younger, I took breakups very hard. Then in my late 30s, I went through a really rough one, and I think something inside of me broke. Because after that, I just grieved for a couple days and moved on to my next project around the house. Finding happiness from within really helps too. Story 40. Last time I had a breakup with a long-term partner, it went, 1, this is great, I'm free. 2, this sucks, I'm lonely. 3, okay, I'm normal again. So maybe that, I guess. Edit. I've never used any social media other than Reddit, and that seems like it's a big trigger for people. So I think that helps a lot. Can't check their socials if you don't know or care what they are. Story 41. I lost weight, started competing in BJJ, built a computer, got promoted at work, traveled the UK, did stuff we wanted to do. And most of the time I would think, darn, she would have loved this. It's been over a year now and I still talk about her. But now I just see it as another life lesson and chapter. Excited for the next chapter. Not rushing, but keeping an open heart. Any heartbroken boys reading this, keep going, bro. Story 42. I took a lot better care of myself, got a better haircut, and now I go consistently every few months and even got highlights. Now I feel more confident in myself, and I never thought it would happen, but I'm really into taking care of it, my hair, and I feel a lot better about myself. Story 43. Some guys look for rebounds and end up being more fudge up. Some guys like me go in complete isolation and meditate and do intense yoga so that we are healed without using or abusing the feminine energy. After going through a few breakups, I have realized that pain makes us stronger, and it is the way of life. Story 44. Eat, stalk, then sleep. I stalked until I was contented. After a couple of months, I started deleting every contact, pictures, and memories I had with my ex. It's so hard, but life has to move on. I try to be a little better every day. It's been almost 2 years, but I'm still not completely over it, but it definitely got better over time. Story 45. The first time I carry studying, stopped partying and drinking, stopped shaving. After 3 months, I changed the deco of my house and started a new life. Second time, I started to party again, had a new better job, made new friends, and had new hobbies. Story 46. Cried for a whole week, basically lost myself BC. I put my world for him, gave everything just for him, but at the end of the day, it's still not working out. Right person, wrong time. But I believe everything will eventually be all right. Because if I drowned myself onto grief over something I couldn't control or predict, not only my mind, it would take my life eventually. And I could never forgive myself if that happens. Story 47. When I got dumped not too long ago, I took a week to feel what I was feeling, writing everything down. After that, I took a day off to just be on my own and process. Went for a walk in nature, did some drawings, went to an art gallery, went to a restaurant, and topped it off with a movie. I found this day very cleansing. In the end, it helped to think of this as a learning experience to make me a better partner for the future. Story 48. I seem to sway between sadness, crying, not eating, and spending too much time on Spotify. To anger, and I don't need him, and I'm strong. To crying into my food and wanting to reach out. Then repeat. Right now, I'm missing him like crazy and feel flat while being annoyed at myself for it. Story 49. Anything, go back to your interests that might have gotten suppressed from the relationship. Find new things to do. Find new people to do these things with. Most importantly, take time to mark the end of a chapter in your life. Don't let the breakup define you or derail your life for too long. Give it the appropriate time and start moving forward from there. Staying stuck in the what could haves will only make it worse for longer. It sucks, but it does get better, and there will be another partner who will love you more than the last. Story 50. Reestablish friendships. Create a new online profile. Fill up the calendar with adventures. Clean the house. Listen to some favorite music. Dissect and process whatever thoughts the breakup left behind. Work out and move on with what makes me happy. Story 51. Listen, man, 99 of the time, a breakup is the right thing. It's meant to be, or it isn't. Your feelings for the other person match, or they don't. And sometimes you feel more than someone else. It sucks. Sometimes a lot, but looking for answers from them or about them is a complete waste of time and energy. Closure isn't something to seek from outside yourself. Let them go and move on. Don't put any energy into making them or the world know how hurt you are. The friends and family that love, you know how hurt you are. Seek them out and wake yourself up to the person you were before meeting your ex and bring that person forward to who you are right now. Indulge yourself in what you like and love and be messy for a while. Destroy yourself just a little and don't feel bad about it. Then go on dates. Don't wait until you're ready or have taken the time to work on yourself. Go out. Be messy and have fun. Don't get up your own A about centering yourself or healing or any of that BS. You'll get there in time, but don't waste another solitary second trying to make sense of them or how they made you feel. Go, go, go. Also, mushrooms and travel. Story 52. Broke up about 3 months ago now. First week, I went and did stuff I never would have done with her. Felt awesome, and it really helped me get past the whole who even am I stage. Next month or so, I was still figuring out how to be single again. Hit up all my old friends who I hadn't been seeing a lot. Got back into my gaming group of friends I've known since I was 12. Felt happy because I was just being myself again. I still get the draw to get back in a relationship, but it's not a priority like it used to be before me and my ex got together. A big breakthrough was when I realized that the things we did together that we enjoyed, I could still enjoy them. I didn't have to associate those things with her. I took the positive of our relationship, and now I seek out those positives again. Story 53. Fall apart, then put ourselves together again, this time a little stronger. And if you're a wise man, you can keep the bitterness at bay, so you're able to give as much love to the next person who had nothing to do with your previous shoot experience. Story 54. What do you do if your mutual friends keep planning stuff that forces the two of you to see each other again when all you want to do is forget the person exists and move on with your life? Like I'm basically at the point where I either have to give up all of my friends so I can finally stop thinking about her, or I have to constantly dig up old emotions every time I see my friends. Story 55. Usually wallow in misery. We're generally extremely lonely people even when we have many friends. That being said, it can get better and usually does, especially with a lot of self-reflection and positive growth if necessary. Disclaimer, I have personal experience with all of the above. Story 56. Not caring, hook up with some hoes. Realize casual hookups suck and you miss love. Try to get them back. Doesn't work due to getting with said hoes. Get sent into gym, substance abuse, reality check, and then it kind of sets it and you accept it and try to move on, but you have to kick the substance abuse part and just go crazy in the gym. A breakup is the best motivation to work out and has you putting up numbers when you think about her. Eventually you look better, feel better, and find someone else. But regardless, you'll always think about them, and they'll have a special place in your heart. But at this point, you're a different person, and so is she after much time apart. That's my breakup routine, but I'm at the point in my life, I'm giving a relationship one more try, and if it don't work out, I'm done just sticking to casual one-night stands. Story 57. I plan to off myself within the next few weeks. She was my everything, my sunrise, sunset, and horizon. I truly don't know what to do with myself without her. She was my rock and always knew how to calm me down. In my heart of hearts, I knew she was my best friend, partner, and the one. I had given up on love for 8 years until she came into my life. Love you, baby girl. Story 58. One, suffer, work out, get healthier, and look better to win the breakup. But seriously, suffer, bounce back, find someone new and/or work on self. 2, suffer, self-pity, self-produced depression, gets fat, gets into a loser phase, and is bitter at the world. Depends on how mentally strong the man in question is to how they will respond. Story 59. As a 40-year-old man who refused the advice of everyone that one day you'll get over her, I have come here to say that it is indeed true. However, you have to grieve. Give yourself some time to mourn the loss, then take all that energy and funnel it into something else. Yourself, a hobby, work, friendships. Take the time between relationships to work on who you want to be and where you want to be in life. I spent a lot of my youth chasing girlfriends because I thought I was only happy in a relationship. I was scared to be alone, and I was scared of me. It was only when I stopped looking and finally started working on me that I found someone, my now forever partner. Take some time. Don't obsess over the whys and what happened. Heal from it and move on. Story 60. Just got broken up with a month ago, just scrutinized everything that I could have done that pushed her away or tarnished the relationship. I then deleted every memory of her, whether it be a picture on my camera roll or a letter I've kept of hers. Then I'll unfollow her and any of her friends on my social media. I'll allow myself a week to just wallow in my sadness. And after that, I force myself to get into the gym and download a dating app to get back out there. I feel like I have a lot of love and affection to give someone, but I just haven't met the right person. Life goes on, and there's no reason to regret the past. If someone doesn't want to be in your life, who are you to disagree with them? Story 61. Think about her without wanting to 17 years later. Having to live the knowledge that even after all that time, I still don't understand why we imploded. I am happy with my life. I have moved on. However, some people stay with you, and you have to learn to live with that. Story 62. Contemplation, self-questioning, questioning them too, feeling like you've been manipulated and laughed at by the whole universe, gaining worse trust issues, especially after seeing your ex already dating someone 5 days after breaking up. The list honestly goes on and on. Story 63. When she broke up with him, as I often observed, engaged in finding another girlfriend, ASAP to show his ex she is easily replaceable. Even marry the new one just to show the old one he loves her even more. Often no happy end of this relationship either. Story 64. Let you know when I get there. Seriously, historically, get tipsy. Get tipsy more. Remember the songs we shared. Get tipsy remembering the songs we shared. Think about contacting her. Contact her. Get tipsy because you contacted her. Listen to songs that remind you of when you were tipsy contacting her. Go for a full fried breakfast. Get tipsy remembering the breakfast you had because the songs remind you you had a breakfast because she is still on your mind. And that song, something like that. Story 65. I think whatever gender, most people will just get on with their lives. They may become upset at home, but the next morning they'll get up and carry on. Breakups are rarely a surprise. It probably comes after months or years of shoot relationship. Often, as well as being upsetting, there may be an element of relief. I'm not sure there will be significant differences between genders. Story 66. Crying my eyes out. Therapy. Talking it out to closest friends. Crying my eyes out. Listen to sad songs. Crying my eyes out. Read self-help books. Crying my eyes out. 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 Looking at his or our pictures. Crying my eyes out. Crying my eyes out. Story 67. I've become so numb to reality, I don't even think about it. My life doesn't change even. I literally couldn't care if I tried to. I'm not saying that to sound like some cold-hearted badass. I literally have just gone through so much in my life. I don't emotionally attach myself to anything or anyone. I don't even look back or think about it. I forget almost instantly and just move on. My ex-wife and my ex-girlfriend after that were baffled when they would ask me those dumb hypothetical questions like, what would you do if we broke up? Or if they threatened to leave me after an argument? And I have literally zero concern. They are bewildered that I can choose to just stop caring about anything at a moment's notice. Like, okay, go ahead, live your life, do what's best for you. I'm not going to break down over you or anything else. It's fudge up that I'm like that. But seriously, what is the point of breaking down and being all sad about someone else? At the end of the day, it's their life. And if they don't want you to be a part of it, then who are you to say otherwise? Wish you the best. Bye. None of that immature hating. Shoot seriously, just wish them luck and move on. Story 68. Depends on what kind of breakup it is. When I broke up with my ex, I just carried on living my life. It wasn't the same for the good and bad. I was finally rid of him, but the trauma was too heavy, and it wasn't easy to deal with that. Regardless, I felt relieved and free. It wasn't hard to move on. The relationship I had before him, though, I actually liked the guy. We just weren't compatible. And the best thing was to break up. I grieved for a while, maybe a few weeks, and wondered what we could have done differently. Eventually, I came to terms with the breakup and accepted that we weren't the right people for each other and moved on with my life. Right now, I'm married to a wonderful man. We get along better every day and love each other more every day too. If we ever go sour and have to get divorced, it's probably going to be hard to deal with. But again, it depends on how the relationship would be by then. If the resentment were too great, it probably wouldn't be too hard. Story 69. Tons of breathwork modalities like buttering walk Hoff method, and I did 2 Epsom baths a day to accelerate nervous system regulation. Wake up, get AM sunlight for beta endorphins and hormonal cycle balance, circadian reset, self-love meditations while Epsom bathing in darkness. 1 through 4. Self 15 to 25 mind each, self-love meditations per day. Ho'oponopono, self-forgiveness, cellular memory storage, clear up of negative memory storages, so that I don't get stuck in the she said that she did this to me self-referencing downward spiral loops. Use heartbreak energy for extreme goal accomplishment. Heartbreak energy is one of the most powerful electrically charged states to utilize. After 2-3 months with no let-up and constantly movement, completely self-regulated and confident to date again, you have to get back into an attractive state of being in order to intimacy attract again from proper polarity. She can't feel safe or intimacy attraction to you if she doesn't feel safe with you. If you're just emotionally reactive, her instincts will not view you as Sadie or masculines. Cried at first became a beta male, emasculated simp, Mangina giving up my spine and backbone, then built it back better. Oh yeah, can't forget the daily forest nature walks. Sunset gazing was sprinkled in here as well. Oh, and the just of socializing. Don't spend too much energy moping. Leverage and ascend. Story 70. It's been a while, but what I used to do was just hit up a few of my buddies to spend a weekend together gaming, drinking, cooking, just talking and catching up. Nice reminder that your now ex isn't your sole source of joy and fun, and that life goes on. Story 71. Takes 3 days to notice they are gone. By the time you realize they are gone forever, you'll be over. But random time, random place, you'll remember it as the best time of your life. And then be sad for a moment. Then later realize you are playing only happy parts in your head. The end. Story 72. Well, I slept on most of my holidays, started focusing more on work and work days, started indulging back in hobbies, games, movie series that I wasn't able to do because of less time in a relationship. Also, if a female approached me, I used to actually carry conversation instead of shutting her off. Story 73. Keep to myself. I have a small circle of family and friends I can reach out to. Take care of myself, work on my faults. I left my abusive, narcissistic ex after 10 long years after he cheated multiple times, so it's been tough this time. Be kind to yourself, give yourself credit, feel all the feelings and reach out to your circle if you need to. Story 74. I always find it's a really good time to pour myself into the passion hobbies that I have been neglecting for some time, because you suddenly have that little space of time that opens up in your day that normally would have been filled by doing things with your SO. Story 75. My worst breakup, I was sad and angry for about a year. Sad because of the breaks up and angry because of the wider effect on my social life. People having opinions on how I handled it. Social circles shrinking as you lose suck of the previous shared friends. I'm rarely outwardly very angry, so I just simmered away. Anyway, eventually you keep doing things and life moves on, and you remember only the good times. Story 76. I usually get tipsy with a friend and do something fun like mini golf. Give myself as much time as I need to heal as I need. Go through socials and delete pictures and put my accounts on pause until I feel okay to scroll again. I'll start painting again because it takes my mind off of it. Breakups aren't a bad thing, it just sucks. Story 77. I fell in love with the perfect curves of the sine wave. My brain was always in an unstable equilibrium, revolving around its own axis. My heart used to pump tangentially. I tried to find a real solution, but the discriminant of my problem was negative. It used to be a very complex situation. The sine wave, however, dumped me. I scored low marks in one of the tests. My heart was broken into Avogadro number of pieces. I had to integrate them, but it took a lot of kinetic energy. There were just so many permutations of those pieces. But then I found the cosine wave, and my heart started pumping tangentially again. Turned out it was just a phase difference, thanks. Story 78. Bunch of darn gym bunnies in here. Make art, drink, cook really good food, and do something logical and tedious on a computer. Like organizing a terabyte of files neatly in a categorical folder structure with meaningful file names. That alone will set you back a week at least, or make some kind of database. Story 79. Am I the only guy that just moves on? Sure, time is needed. Cannot fathom lingering feelings past half a year. All I need to know is that she doesn't like me. Why care about someone who doesn't feel the same about you? Also, there's worse pain than breakups. Story 80. Depends on the type of relationship they came out with. Good relationship. If the guy is overthinker, think all the possible ways and why things happen. They way it happened, feel sad for not having the power. Reflect on things and also think on all the possible ways things would have gone if one event had changed. Take some time, feel sad, and move on. After a long time. Bad relationship. Feel happy and also project the future, how it would have been, and be happy how it ended for several days. Feel bad that they are single after a week for a few days and then overthink and realize it happened for a hood future and move on. Story 81. I used to drink a lot and never truly heal. Please don't do that. Reconnect with friends you may have lost contact with. Explore an old hobby more. Watch a show you've been putting off for whatever reason. Learn to cook a new dish or learn to cook. Go to the gym is always your stereotypical answer, but it is a good option too. Gain your confidence back. Just learn to enjoy life by yourself. Find some friends you can chill and let the good times roll. Just don't drink. Story 82. I went for 8-10-mile hikes almost every day. I also did HIIT cardio twice a day, 3 times a week, which is kind of insane in retrospect. But I had a lot of anger and resentment I had to get out of my system. But it was probably one of the toughest moments of my life. I started experiencing panic attacks not knowing what they were. Thought I was dying, got on meds, eventually got them under more manageable control. I went to therapy for a year. I quit drinking for a year. Immersed myself in painting. Story 83. After reading the comments, I'm glad to know that I ain't the only one sobbing since 2 years. I dislike that we talk like strangers now who never met before, and man, it sucks. Apart from that, the heartbreaking thing was that I tried to get over my issues with therapy as she wanted me to. I'm glad I did, as it did help me somewhat. And it was all for nothing, as I was about a year late. She moved on, and I'm still stuck over her. Had to quit therapy as my internship ended. And now I'm just at home thinking about it all the day. Before all of y'all start saying I need to cut her off, I can't, because she was there for me from the start. Even when we were just friends, helped me a lot. And hell, she's the nicest person I'll ever meet. We were there for each other during tough times for both of us. And I can't just block her and move on. Story 84. Lose weight, lose sleep, ruminate with looping thoughts, make weird friends, lose them too, listen to even weirder music for a while, drink heavily, try a substance or two, gain weight, then eventually realize you're not helping yourself. You're actually hurting yourself, then assess what's important and get back on track. Story 85. I abused cocaine, then realized that I can't be doing this shoot when this shoot happens. So I quit cocaine. I bet this doesn't help you, but it might help someone else. Don't abuse substances or adult beverage. Maybe if you can, for a couple days, but if it's more than that, it's not the way. Trust me. Story 86. It surely depends on the breakup. My most recent one was not easy. I knew the girl for 10 years. We were best friends. I was madly in love. Then she cheated on me. I was simply incapacitated. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't work. I couldn't socialize. All I could do was cry and drink very heavily. This went on for over a month. I was detached from everything. I was so lonely. My friends wanted to help, but all I did was push them away. With time came healing. Just like any other loss, we all handle it differently. Mine was so unhealthy. I definitely don't think I would do the same if it were to occur again. But honestly, I don't know, because I can't say for sure what I would be feeling. Story 87. Think it depends, but when I broke up with my last ex, I was the happiest version of me that had ever existed. She was abusive, and we dated for about 2 years until I finally woke up. It took me over a year to even kiss someone else, but it allowed me to truly experience friendships and spend time with myself. Now I have the most wonderful girl on the planet, gang. Story 88. They're all different. I can only think of one relationship that's ended where it really hit me hard. Even then, it wasn't a depressed all the time thing. It had usually hit me at random points, mostly at night, lasted probably 2 to 3 weeks. I remember at one point I was driving, this song came on, and I had to pull over. I still think of her when I hear it. Story 89. Depends on a lot of things, the relationship itself, how it ended, why it ended, or just the type of the guy, etc. I knew guys who would get heartbroken and depressed for months, including me as a teen after my first breakup, and also guys who don't give a darn and feel just fine after the breakup, also my current self. Story 90. Sit on rock bottom knowing that no one cares about you. You could take your own life, and the only people that would notice you gone is your work, and that's only because you didn't turn up. Truth hurts. You do you. Things will get better. You just take your time. Story 91. Some suffer. Some enjoy eating whatever they want, whenever they want. Conserve energy by not trying to be a fudge mind reader, and enjoy being themselves without criticism. Gym, gaming, adult beverage, self-pity, smoke meat, and perhaps avoid dealing with a raging codependency by finding someone else to repeat the same relationship tropes again. Wear the same underpants for 3 days too. We just try to pick up the pieces of ourselves and move the fudge on. Story 92. Literally cry my eyes out for 3 weeks straight, knowing I was the one that caused it and he was the one to leave me. I sit here and I think about the wrong I did to the right person and ashamed of myself for my actions. New therapist and a new bipolar medicine added to my life as of currently. Maybe one day we'll get back together, but until then, I need to focus on becoming a better me. Story 93. I'll be honest, it's pretty bleak. After the breakup, most either jump off the sinking Titanic, fall as the tilt becomes too bad to stand, or hold on for dear life as the stern pauses for a moment before finally sinking. After that, most guys don't last very long. Unfortunately, since the water is just above freezing and the lifeboats wait for quite some time to pick up survivors. Story 94. Story 95. I guess it depends on whose fault it is. The guys, they might move on quickly. I don't know. That's never been me. The other's fault? For me, it went cry often, question my self-worth, think of ways to win her back, try to find ways to dislike her to make it seem like a good thing, and then stalk social media hoping that she's in as much pain as you are, only to see that she seems happy and then dislike yourself more. That goes on for a while. Then it starts to wane a little. Then certain parts drop entirely. Then you just sort of move on without realizing it at first. After my last big breakup, I did go to the gym, as hackneyed as it sounds. I lifted weights in high school and remembered that I enjoyed it, so I decided to pick it back up as a distraction. It worked. It turns out that while in the gym, my mind becomes almost entirely blank and helps me reset my mood. When otherwise I would be thinking about her, at least at the gym, I'm thinking about nothing. It was a nice emotional sanctuary. It did take me a couple of years to get back into dating. It also didn't go well at first, so that sucked. But things gradually got better. Story 96. These are some pretty interesting answers. Personally, breakups make me happy. Why would you want to stay with someone who doesn't want to be with you anymore for whatever reason? I like that they've made their feelings known, the relationship ends, and that opens the door to be with someone who is more compatible. Plus, statistically, it's pretty easy to find someone who shares common interests. I've never understood how it's possible for someone to be single for 5 years unless they're an insufferable person, deathly shy, or refuse to get over the last relationship they were in. Story 97. Shovel their crap out the door. Block social media. Grab the swag, esky, and gun, and go hunting to decompress away from everything to reorient yourself to the next phase. I've done this a few times, and it hasn't hurt me yet. Sure, I get back into the game, but it's on my terms, and I'm focused on making the exact same mistakes again. Story 98. I got divorced last summer, moved halfway around the world in January, got me a Wrangler, and I've never been so happy. I think more people should learn to be comfortable alone and not want a relationship at all costs. At least I wish I had understood that when I was 21, then again at would have saved me some trouble and a crappity crap ton of money. Story 99. Well, in the case of my abusive narcissist ex, climbing back into bed with his new girlfriend, and then gaslighting, stonewalling, breadcrumbing, and pushing me to the edge of self-harm. As for now, I have no idea. 3 weeks later, and I have blocked him on every platform and means of communication. Has dead to me. Jen in Seaside dating the tall, skinny blonde guy. Girl, I hope you get out while you can. That man you're with right now is a monster and will destroy you when you stop giving him what he wants. He is lying to you and will continue to lie to you, so you keep making him happy. He will use his charm and charisma to find out your darkest secrets and use them to manipulate and abuse you. He will try to control you. He literally demanded I give him access to my calendar, monthly cycle info, and insisted on being at doctor's appointments with me, plus so many other things. And if you push back, he will lash out and cry and tell you he just wants to take care of you. 20 months of sucking me dry, and he didn't even break up with me until I caught him in your bed. Girl, I do not blame you. He's a monster, and you are as much a victim as I was. Do not trust him. He will ruin you. P.S. See, I know you're still stalking my post with your alt. And if this post gets removed, he'll know it's because you reported it. If she already knows, you have nothing to be afraid of because she accepts the monster, right? And if you're scared, it's because I was right and you're hiding it from her, just like I said you were. Story 100. Count the money I'm saving. In all seriousness, I usually take account of my life. If I ended things with her, I look at why I ended things and what I missed at the start that would have clued me in that things wouldn't work. If she ended things with me, I look at what I did wrong in the relationship. I also look at changes I need to make and in course correct my life to get back on track for my goals. I also stay away from women for a few weeks because I reek of sadness and desperation. Things I don't do, drink or smoke plant substance, beat myself up, lash out at people, let my personal care slip. I make a point to keep working out, stay on a normal sleep cycle, and shower every day. Story 101. Depends on the circumstances how bad it was and why. I was completely broken when my first love left me, when I finally broke up with a girl who had been consistently emotionally and psychologically abusive to me. I had the best sleep of my life that night. Story 102. In my experience, try to maintain an element of normality. Just do what they would normally do as much as possible. But it will feel weird because our brains are currently adjusting to the new normal of not being with whoever we just broke up with. Even if the relationship was garbage, this unsettling feeling creeps over us because of the mental reshuffling and coming to terms with being alone again. Some of us will feel better for having broken up afterwards, but that transitionary period is always strange, and it's important to understand that we'll feel that way no matter what we try to do with our time. Story 103. Depends on the way the breakup happened and the nature of the relationship, but it could go like this. Short relationship, reconnect with friends, go back to whatever they were doing. 1 to 2 year relationship, minor self-improvement, self-reflection, try again, 5-year relationship. Heavy depression, alcoholism, 10-year relationship, rope trick. Story 104. I changed suffer is a good word to describe the misery of that time period, after which a new developmental time period emerged with new psychological, social, and emotional challenges and overlaid the past one. So finally, I never really understood and accepted the temperamental and fundamental incompatibility we had. But time marches on like other comments. I became much more serious and suspicious, and I still dislike country music best. Story 105. 9 years and I still think about her, and you can never truly move on or forget about her if you really loved him. But you have to choose what type of path you want, whether it's painful or a lesson learned one. You can't dwell on something that already happened. You just have push through and make it better for yourself. Story 106. After breakup, in-unfriend ko lahat ng kamag-anak niya. Then nag-focus ako maghanap ng magandang work kasi balak ko talaga mag-glow up, malala haha. Then nung nakapasok na ako sa BPO, medyo malaki ang sahod, bumili talaga ako ng mga skincare, iniinom na pampaputi, nag-iba ako ng style ng damit. Then boom, nakabalikan din hahaha buiset. Story 107. I had a method that included 1. Attempt meaningless intimacy in a short-term fling. 2. Slowly reintegrate my hobbies back into my daily life and hang with friends as much as possible. 3. Become comfortable enough to be alone. 6 to 8 months. 4. New me, ready to get hurt again. Story 108. Depends on how long it took me to realize it was a breakup. 1. Immediately. First hour, cry, text call friends. First day, binge eat, drink. First month, distracted and listless at work. Get tipsy whenever I come home and cry some more first year. Listen to sad music. Run through things we said or didn't say. Have imagined conversations. First 1 to 2 years. No interest in new romantic relationships. 2. Delayed by 4 weeks. Geez. I thought it was only taking a break or clearing up some things about the relationship. Similarly, listless and distracted at work, also increased drinking, but at fewer occasions and with less crying. More intensely try to understand what happened. Reread text messages for clues I could have picked up on. Spend more time in imagined conversations. Similar refractory period. Story 109. I've had 2 friends who were recently divorced after long marriages that produced kids that had grown to young adulthood. Both of them got right into new relationships as soon as they could. One moved in with his rebound after just a few weeks. He was miserable for literal days after his wife dumped him out of nowhere. Blows my mind. I'll be enjoying the single life for a while.